Pledge allegiance to the flag. Call the meeting to order of the Newcastle Fire District #1 at 7 o'clock. Saying pledge to the flag. Mike, lead us, please.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mainstream promoting of silence. Cease members. Attendance, roll call. Okay. We're going to move ahead with awarding the bid for Open Door.
Open systems?
Yeah, Open System, sorry.
Metro.
Metro. Just get everything together. We did send out 4 bids.
Four bids.
4 bids.
Actually 5, because I think another one too.
Okay. Actually 5. And we only have 1 return, which was from Open Systems, Metro. And it's basically in 3 sections. It's got the camera section, it has fire alarm, and the PA system in it. And
They did do Millwood as well. They did Millwood as well.
And their bid was I lost it.
Are we doing for the planning and engineering piece? Is that what we're doing at this point?
building security, telecommunications, public address, and IT system.
You're looking to award, what you just,
It's budget.
Right. Just read that. That's what they don't.
Metro, Open Systems Metro is going to be doing building security, telecommunications, public address, and information technology systems. And I had their price, their bid price. Oh,
That's where I wasn't sure.
So
We're just doing
okay.
the planning engineering.
Thank you. The total is $956,000. Yes,
The fire alarm is coming out.
just this. It's $956,013.20. That was the total for all 3 items. We will be deducting $200,053 and $661 for the fire alarm system, because that is going to be figured in with the electrical architect
contracting.
acceptance, so that would bring it down to roughly.
And the existing one, Brian.
Hmm?
We're taking out the existing one there too. In the middle.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. And we'll be taking out a,
about 700,000.
yeah. That was about $5,000. So it'd be about $456,013.
Which also is negotiable
Right.
based on the work that you require.
Camera.
Which would be, could change, because it all depends how we position the cameras, how many cameras, how much of the PA system we put in, so the price can drop. So, what's your pleasure?
I like their presentation. I think they did a fair number of hours of work here. It looked like a professional presentation. They seem to have been in the business doing other firehouses in the area. And Thus far, we have not heard any complaints from firehouses. I'd like to make a motion, we forge ahead with this with a notice of award.
I'm
Do
gonna
what?
second that motion.
That's all right. Pretty
I have a
obvious.
second. Mike? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Moving on. Chief's report.
Good evening. Not too much tonight. I did send, as part of the agenda items, the contract for interstate diagnostics for our physicals for October 15th. So I believe we have to execute the agreement ahead of it. The prices did not change from the previous year. We will do the COVID antibody screening as well as offer flu shots to those who wish to have it. From an old business perspective, I just really want to thank you for taking the time to speak with the two consulting firms regarding the consultant for the firehouse, for the fire trucks. We have nothing as far as membership. Expenses, the medical kits that you approved last month's meeting, we purchased 4 of them for each of the chief's vehicles. FedEx bill for, we had to return a Knoxbox unit to FedEx. They're going to be reprogramming it, belongs in engine 144, and our post office box renewal for $216. We had 38 alarms for the month of August. Upcoming dates, we've got open house on October 1st, physicals on October 15th, and I think that's about it.
Did you say you had the agreement for the physicals?
It was that I sent it last week as a separate attachment asking it to be put on the agenda for this month's meeting.
I thought you did. Okay, I got it.
Paul, do you want to talk to Alpine,
Let's try this.
their new price and 3-year contract?
Oh, I didn't realize I wasn't really prepared to talk to about it, but what I thought, in response to your question, I thought going 5 years with technology, everything that's going on with the firehouse project, it was better sense to go with the 3 years. Particularly to Greg Lang is working with the new IT vendor because there's some antiquated applications that are running in the chief's office that really need to be upgraded ASAP before their licenses expire and they're no longer supported. So that's why I thought just stick with 3 years for Alpine. And we really don't have another option as far as a different vendor. We had looked at I Am Responding, and we just didn't like it as an application. So I had asked Robin, or forwarded to her, Alpine Software increased the software for the renewal for Red Alert. And we have an option of a 3-year or a 5-year renewal. I opted for the 3-year, figuring everything that we have going on as far as projects and whatnot, and its technology. Let's see what happens in 3 years rather than lock ourselves into 5.
And I haven't gotten anything yet. As soon as I get something, I'll bring it to you.
What's the ballpark price per year that they're?
Unfortunately, that's one of those things where I don't even let just forward it right
It was
to Robin
11.
because we need it.
It was 11,000. There was an increase, but they had a reason for
Yeah,
it.
okay. Just curious.
I mean, as far as applications go, it's very solid for us as being able to keep track of who's responding when, running our books and records for reporting to the state. So, I mean, like I said, the only other alternative I'm aware of is the I Am Responding, which is good to know who's responding to an alarm. But a lot of the fire departments that I'm aware of use both actually, and use the Red Alert as their reporting mechanism for the state. So carrying 2 doesn't make any sense to me. One of the other items that's not on my report was the vendor who's going to be doing the wiring for Utility 155 is going to meet with Chief Lang on Monday or Tuesday to reconfirm the placement, and he'll probably be there to put them in next Wednesday or Thursday night.
I could be wrong, but I thought he wanted to take it to his shop.
No,
for
he
some
said
of
that he
it.
would come in and do it here,
Okay.
which is a lot easier, then we don't have to empty the vehicle, take it to the Bronx.
Who's doing
Russell Coco's, I forget the acronym for it, he's a Briarcliff firefighter. He does all of Millwood's chief's vehicles.
That's
He's
ours and
done my
ours.
son's personal
Okay.
vehicle.
Emergency lighting, something like that.
So, what's your pleasure on the chief's expenses?
Except as read.
I have a motion.
I make the motion, we
Okay,
accept it as
do I have a
read.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Right here.
Okay.
Moving on.
Do we
Oh.
want to do the physical contract?
You have it, I don't have it.
I don't have it in front of me.
I must not have printed it.
I can print it and you can authorize the
Yeah.
signature.
Since it's an unchanged price per person from last year.
Because I have Triton's. Signature page,
Mhm.
so. And we're doing flu shots and
Yes.
stuff, okay.
Flu shots, and they will screen for the COVID antibodies as they've done for the last couple of years.
And,
They're not
tetanus.
authorized to give any COVID vaccinations, but they do screen for the antibodies, and usually that's an indicator for people if they're not carrying the antibodies, if they're concerned, they go see their physician or not.
Right, and the hepatitis test, they're doing that
Well,
too?
usually, yeah. And they do have the two different prices in there for the over 60 or over 65 flu shot versus the other flu shot, so I guess there's a discrepancy between them price-wise.
Can you forward it? I don't see it on any of them. When you have a chance. Thank you.
So you can just authorize Brian to sign it when you get it.
So, once I get the contract, I just need the authorization to sign it. So we can get the physicals done on October 15th. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the physicals contract with Interstate Physical.
Second.
Interstate Medical or Interstate Physical?
Interstate Diagnostics.
Diagnostic.
I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Now, your report. What are you looking like that for?
So I submitted to you a check register, $161,395.37. It's, includes hydrant rental for the town of Newcastle, which is $102,869.04, which came in under budget. We also get a contract for hydrants from the town of Mount Pleasant, so there's a little bit of their piece that will be paid out of that code as well. So if you could approve that, I also wrote, I opened up the capital checking account, and the 30-day permissive referendum ended on the 20th, and Christine did not get any negative feedback.
I did not.
So I opened the capital account by transferring $500,000 from the buildings account to the capital account today, and I wrote the 3 checks that we received for this month, which was Triton, Windell's, and JMC.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the treasurer's report.
Second.
I have a motion to approve the secretary's report, and I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Then, it's budget season, so I handed out to everyone a preliminary budget.
It's towards the back of the paper packets that I
What we presented, where we are today, and what's remaining, and then we have to work on our proposed budget. which if in fact we didn't have time to get to a final budget for some reason, the proposed would be adopted. That's why you have to adopt a proposed by the 26th of September. I filled out temporarily, you can fill out the tax cap form on the state's website, and the allowable increase for us is 30,000 and change this year. So it is a very small increase that's allowable based on the 2%.
Okay.
I also, based on the tax base growth factor, we have a Mount Pleasant contract for fire protection. And this year, we were $206,202.19. And based on the tax base growth factor, that would increase by about $2,000. That's our revenue line, other than tax funds from the town of Mount Pleasant. It's about a $2,000 increase. So we don't have a lot of change with our budget, and we have to think about funding our reserves if we're looking to purchase trucks, and if we're looking to improve our buildings. If we
Okay,
do
so we
decide,
need a little work session, huh?
we need a work session for budget, we need to talk about whether you feel you need to break the tax cap, and if so, that has to be a decision made and published.
There's a sample resolution in your packet too for that. I also gave you a budget timeline.
And Paul supplied his budget as well. And the line items from last year didn't increase significantly.
Yeah, actually, I think I was talking to Mike about that. A few of them, because there's such an increase in the cost for turnout, almost double, I did try to go through and some of the other line items, knock them down at least by half to try to keep my overall total close enough to last year as possible. But there was a huge increase in the cost of turnout gear. I think we used to budget $3,500 a set. And when I'm talking turnout gear, coat and bumper pants was $3,500. It's up to about $5,700. So it's almost doubled. I did ask for 2 other vendors for a quote. One came in at almost $6,800. I'm waiting on the third one, but I think we'll probably remain with Globe, which is who we've been using, which is right now at the $5,700 line. And I am going to be sending, once I get confirmation of that I'm staying with Globe, I've got 7 people I'm going to send for. I budgeted for 10 sets of 35. So I'm sending 7 people for sets at $5,700 plus, with money that I'm hoping to free up in some of the other categories, like for dress uniforms. I think we budgeted $5,000, and I knocked that down on my request this year, like $2,500, just to try to keep it a little more in line with where we should be.
So based on the chief's request, the budget as a whole shouldn't change. It's based on your requests.
What day you want to have this work session?
Can we do a Saturday? Anybody have a problem with a Saturday?
It is in the morning,
Is that better?
yeah, for me.
So
How's it working?
this is the
This
26th.
I'm just saying a Saturday.
No, we only have one Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
yeah, that's a
I
Saturday.
cannot do this Saturday.
Okay,
It's too short of notice.
all right.
No, but you wouldn't, it would be okay. You would just
Yeah.
have to notice it for that.
I don't know that that's enough notice.
Okay.
It's only 2 days away,
What do you need?
5 days.
Okay. So maybe next Tuesday, is that enough?
Tuesday the 26th.
Oh, wait. Yeah. I
That's
have
the
a-
days too, right? What about Monday?
She's got to have 5 days.
Can you, well, this is how it went last year. You adopted the proposed tonight, and you still had a work session after to discuss it.
So you could adopt the budgets that were in this current year and increase the 3 line items that are the reserves. that we transfer from the general fund to the reserves each year, you could increase those so that you are not allowing yourself to adopt a proposed that is too low until you get to the final budget.
So is,
All right, so you're saying is we can propose a budget, the same budget we have for now. And then when we have our work session, do our changes and then adopt the actual budget.
Yeah.
but you did add reserves to last year's, right?
But you could, like, currently, our reserve for trucks is 120,000. Our reserve for buildings is 195,000, and our reserve for auto is 11. So you could adopt the 23 budget with an increase in any one of those lines for a couple $100,000.
Which reserve do you think?
House.
Well,
Well,
between house
and trucks.
and trucks, you definitely need some additional funds. If you increase trucks by 80, you'd be at 200,000.
I don't know if we need 80,000 more, but I know we're gonna need more. We're starting to find lots of things going on with the trucks.
Well, this is the piece
This
that
is-
goes to the reserve.
Oh,
It's
you
for the
mean- I'm
purchase of
sorry.
a new truck.
I'm sorry.
Only.
Yes, every penny helps.
But you can choose not to send it over to the reserve if you need it during the year, and you can choose to put more into it from the current budget if you need to during the year. It's flexible, but this is just something I think you want to increase.
Well, I increased trucks to 200 in the house, got 190, I increased it to 2, make them both 2 for now.
And then they can change it in the adopted version.
Yeah.
You're just saying, so they're not held to a lower number if the proposed were to be the
Mhm.
final.
Mhm.
So
We have to
200
approve that now? We have to approve that tonight?
Then we have met our 26th deadline.
Okay.
And then you can have a work session anytime between now and when you adopt.
All right, so we'll have a motion to fund trucks $80,000 and house 200.
Extra?
Yeah, 80,000 extra and house 10,000 extra.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. So that's it?
So that's adopting the proposed 2024 with those increases.
And I will give you that budget for your minutes.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
So that's all done?
Are you still having email trouble? Because everyone's NCFD.org email, like, as I just sent re-forwarded the interstate contract, was just rejected. The only one that went through was Brian's, because
Did you do NCFD
the
1?
usual one that I always do. Everyone's
She's here.
We've been getting
NCFD was
emails.
rejected except Brian and Ed's.
You
Because
can
they
do
don't,
BOSC?
BOFC at NCFD 1?
that one got rejected too.
So maybe the system's down, the email's down. Sometimes they're,
Remote server, return one or more disallowed. Oh, all right, so that's something you're gonna have to speak with the consultant. They're not allowing the attachment types. So,
Can you just forward it to my
I
Gmail?
did, I sent it to your
Okay.
personal, and I sent it to Robin's personal also, as well as Mike's.
Okay. I think it's Fire Solutions that needs to change something in their setting.
Okay. Well, we still need to decide on a work session. And you still have to post it, correct?
Mhm.
So based on the other dates that you gave us, Christine,
Well, now we can go past the 26th, right?
Yeah.
what's our next deadline?
So the budget has to be, we have to hold a public hearing on October 17th, which is the third Tuesday of the month by law, and then you have to adopt the budget by November 7th.
Okay.
So as long as we,
And if you're
have,
breaking the cap, you have to adopt the resolution before you adopt the budget.
before the 7th. So anytime before October 17th, before you have a public hearing, you can have a work session or 2 or 3, however many you feel.
Should we set
Should
a
set
temporary
it.
date right now?
I think so.
Brian, you
You
want
were,
you want Saturday, or is Saturday work?
you were the one that won Saturday.
Yeah, we've got so many meetings going on during the week.
How about the,
The morning?
either the 30th or the 7th of, 30th of September or 7th of October?
That's,
14th?
30 available?
what,
Who is
is it
it?
30th of September?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the
Sorry.
morning, 10
Mm.
o'clock or something like
Okay,
that.
7th of October?
I'd go for that.
7th, does that work?
Se-
Yeah.
October 7th?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
10 a.m.?
Yeah.
Is there Columbus Day
I
It
don't
is
know.
Columbus Day.
weekend? Columbus Day weekend, 14 days, anybody's foliage voting?
You go run, Kisco.
It's Indigenous Peoples Day.
Budget.
So October 7th at,
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
thank you.
Okay, I will notice that. I will notice the budget.
Anything else?
From me?
Yes. Or are you done?
I believe I am finished, thank you.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Let's go to Kevin next.
Just wanted to make sure. Approval of regular meeting minutes, 8/17/23. Has everybody read them?
Yep.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we accept them.
We accept the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Committee reports. House.
Kevin first.
Kevin, you have anything else you want to say?
I think it's easier to make sure you execute the contract.
No,
Oh.
I'm just here
Just here
to,
Good, yeah.
To be
Look at this for a
supportive.
minute, please.
What's that? It's just the signature page.
also,
Just ask him if that's what he wants.
also while we're talking about budgets and.
Well, we need it.
Yeah, I know, but is that,
Yeah, it's just the page.
Yep, that
I
was
just
good.
printed that.
That's-
okay,
Looks good to me.
that's what I got off the computer, so. What?
Well, we're talking about budgets and allocations. Could we talk about briefly the truck consultant? On whether we're gonna,
Well, I was gonna get to that.
okay. I just didn't wanna let that go by,
It won't.
especially while we're still talking about budgets.
Get to it. All right. Outside, the AMSL system in the kitchen, the tank has been replaced, so we're set for 12 years.
And since the siren is kind of part of house, Westchester County did make the changes to the software so that the horn on the building will now only sound between the hours of 9 a.m. and 9 p.m., which is controlled by us, the timing, but for smoke or better, or a structure fire. So it won't go off for every alarm, but it will sound, particularly during daytime hours, for structure-related fires. I have emailed and had very great conversations with the residents on Brevort we've been in touch with. I've explained the whole process all along. They're very happy with the accommodation. They do understand that from a daytime perspective, the challenge that we run into is any of our members, plus our mutual aid members who work for the town, don't carry their $500 pagers with them while they're working. Hearing the horn, they'll know it's a fire or a serious alarm, and they'll respond to be able to help us with the call, so.
Okay,
That's
so they're
went over
all, everybody's happy.
Yes, and I tested the horn yesterday. We ran to have them page out twice, Once was strictly just a page, worked out perfectly. The second one, the horn went off, and just the way we had expected it to. So we're good to go now.
Okay. Physicals, chief has told you that's on a 19,
15.
15?
15.
That's all I have right now. Commissioner Frank, technology.
Okay, so I got a request from Bob Mitchell's mechanical consultant, which is Gerard Associates. They're trying to work with Con Edison on getting design and load information coordinated for the project. So I gave them that information. And Kevin, I'll send you a copy of that email so you have it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
No,
That's
since
it. That's it.
since we're talking about technology, the server, I'm still waiting to hear back from Wayne on, what's his final solution? Like, what are we buying? How it's spec'd out. I'm also getting contact from the insurance company asking for it too. So I wrote to Wayne this morning and I said, what's up with this? What's up with the server? We got to get it rolling. So,
He was
Okay.
here this evening.
but our other bills for the
Same.
carpenter and the plumber, not the plumber, but the carpenter and electrician were approved. Not the plumber, however.
No. How come?
They don't cover the plumber.
Oh, that's right, you told me.
Yeah, they said they'll cover the damage to the room. They won't cover the actual plumbing that's in the wall.
Do we know what caused the leak? I mean, why it actually leaked? Is there a crack or?
He said it was an overflow of the toilet
Okay,
on the second floor.
but we saw the floor was dry.
Yeah, but when he went up, the toilet was full.
Yeah, it was full, but the floor was dry, so I don't know where that leak was coming from. Unless
It all
it's the
came
wax
down
ring.
here.
Unless what?
The wax ring under the toilet maybe or something? I have no idea.
No,
I don't know.
toilet's fine.
Yeah,
He said it was fine.
so weird. Well, let's resolve not to put the server there again.
Under a toilet?
Okay.
But definitely,
Charlie?
Talk for me.
but definitely put the backup above it.
Commissioner Roush, insurance?
Yes. Insurance, just gave you an update on the latest insurance. Doug Hunter and Diana all taken care of. They're writing a check for Doug's beneficiary,
They actually
so it should go out this week.
mailed a copy and I put it in his file,
Oh, okay, thank you.
as a statement.
Okay, thanks.
Finance, purchasing?
That's all I have.
Commissioner Smith, trucks.
Okay, got a little bit of a list here. A couple weeks ago, we had a tower ladder, had a couple of things break on it, had a fire. It was a real good fire, big fire. A real light was broken, we were able to fix that. Seatbelt retractor was broken. I've reached out to the manufacturer, they're sending it out tomorrow. It should be here and we're gonna have it professionally installed by one of our two vendors that are north of us a little bit. One of two gas pistons that hold the door open for the generator, inverter, radiator compartment failed, so I ordered two, one for each of the doors in the area of that heat source. Hendrickson, the mobile service people, they came and serviced 144 at the firehouse. They inspected the pump, and all plumbing plumbing and pump systems are fine. And they installed a mirror that's been hanging around or waiting to be installed for quite a while. They found it. The Rescue 2-3 was up at Hudson Valley, and it was serviced. They did a full annual PM state inspection, and there was a computer module that had failed that caused the ladder rack not to work, and also a switch on the pump panel to become inoperative, and so you couldn't turn the pump panel lights on. and there was also an error code that kept popping up on the screen. So they did that module installation, and everything seems to be working. They did it for PM, and we talked to them, and everything's fine. We're still waiting on the iPad cradle for the new chief's car, but he's got a cradle now. The only difference is that this cradle that he's using requires the iPad to be plugged in. The cradle that we are waiting for, you just place the iPad on the cradle and it charges the iPad while it's sitting. So I talk to the installer every week or two, week and a half or so, and he's still waiting for it. So I don't know where we are with that. I ordered 3 replacement batteries for the fire chief's VHF radios that talk to the police. The Motorola radio batteries are a 20 to 24 week lead time, and I didn't think that was appropriate, so we're going with an off-brand that will work just fine. Presumably there'll be less money, but I have not gotten back from them when they'll be delivered or what the lead time on that is, so I'm waiting on that. The standby generator was serviced. I think I might have mentioned this, that was going to be, and now it has been serviced. They did the first of 2 services on it, and they took oil samples, and that's going to be sent out. We'll get a report eventually on that, on what's going on internal to the engine. They found that 2 3-volt batteries downstairs at the automatic transfer switch were dead, so they were not keeping the programming for when the generator starts and runs an exercise program. Those have been changed, and the second PM will be done, and it will be a little more thorough. It's not going to be so much oil. It'll be checking oil and fluids and filters and so on. But this one, they're going to put the generator under a load test, and they ramp it up under smaller, larger and larger and larger amounts of load to stress the engine and generator to make sure it's capable of putting out its rated load. And that's the end of my report, sir.
Communications or anything?
Do we have anything for batteries for Hearst Tools?
No, I was not in
That's,
Because I
I'm
think
not buying
one
it.
had to be replaced.
I know
Yeah,
he
it's
said
taken
he
care
did.
of, right?
I was not aware. I know you need one at least, but I was not made aware that I need to order them. I thought you were going to get
I
it.
did, 7 of them have been delivered.
There you go. I was not involved in that.
2 of the batteries were throwing up a fault code when we put them in the charger. I also scheduled October 4th, the Hearst tools will be serviced. We actually budget each year for an annual service, and that was unbeknownst to me. It had never been budgeted, never been acted upon. So apparently, in the gang chargers, the service tech called me when he was scheduling, and I explained we had 2 batteries that were throwing an error code. So he suggested putting them in the single standalone charger. Sometimes that actually, I don't want to say recalibrates, because that gives it much more credence, I think, than it does, but it might help clear it. So that's what Greg Lang and I were chatting about earlier. I ordered 7 new batteries because we had 5 of all from the same lot that were all going to be due to be expiring. So this way we continue with our 1 in each of the tools, 5 in the chargers, and we rotate them every week at House Duty.
Do you have the bad batteries still?
Yes.
Did it get tossed?
When he comes, no, we're not throwing it. When he comes, I'm giving him to the tech to see if it's worth anything to us.
Good.
According to the online literature, they're good for like 1,000 full cycles. We don't come anywhere near that many full cycles, so if it's worth anything or we can get anything back on it or a credit, we'll give it a shot. They are $600 a piece, so.
Mike, Jack here.
Yeah, getting back to the Tarnac here, as the chief was mentioning before, I know he's looking at vendors. He uses Globe. The prices significantly increased over the course of the last year or so. So I think once the chief comes down and decides on a vendor, he act right away. I know he requested 10.
Well, what we budgeted last year for 10 at $3,500 a piece.
Right.
I scaled it back to 7, and what we actually did, we kind of chose 7 members who are, shall we say, not athletically cut like myself, so that this way we have more members would be able to use the gear over time, because I mean, they're good for 10 years. So, you know, that's the perspective that we were taking with them.
Well, when you decide on a vendor, I think we should act on it right away before
Definitely.
a price goes up
Part of the
again.
price increase is due to the new particulate blocking technology, which is supposedly help towards blocking the absorption of some of the carcinogens from smoke and fire through the gear into your skin.
Cancer causing.
We did just replace everyone's hood with that same technology, which is becoming the new NFPA standard. That also represents part of the reason there has been such an increase in the cost of the gear. Like, we can't go out and buy our current globe gear anymore, they just don't make it because it doesn't have that next generation of particulate blocking.
But anyway, when you decide, we got
Yep, I'll
we got
stay
to
in
act on
touch
it
as soon
now.
as we get, if I don't hear from the third vendor by the end of the week, I'm just gonna send them to be fitted for, you know, we all know it's not gonna be sticker shock anymore, we know what we're facing, and, you know, I can't let them, these are interior firefighters, so I can't let them have expired gear.
Absolutely.
God forbid anything happens.
Safety is the utmost importance. Uniforms, I think you were sending some guys down to the vendor.
Yeah, just I think 2 people were going for new uniforms, and we ordered a bunch of gloves, but nothing,
Nothing
you know.
crazy.
So I'm actually hoping that if we need to, we can take some of that and transfer it to cover the increase in turnout here.
Okay. And that's it.
Old business. We need to pick a date to discuss district's policies. Again. So,
Do we have any estimation on how long our budget meeting might take? Because
I'll
we
tell
could
you.
do, I'm just wondering if we think it might take an hour, could we spend another hour and a half or 2 on the budget, on the policies, in the same meeting?
I just want to let you know that it's going to take a little longer than an hour
Well,
to discuss the
We
policies.
wouldn't get it done, I agree, but I'm just wondering if we start, we can maybe have that one meeting do 2 things. Just a thought.
It's up to you guys.
Well,
I'm around, so I don't.
can we tentatively say we're gonna look at the 7th as a,
Because you have to, you have to publicize the work session,
Are we
right?
talking the work session for
Yeah.
the budget or the public hearing day?
the work session for the budget, but at the same, when
And
we're
then
done
do the
talking about
district
that,
policies thereafter?
start working on the policies that
Same
same day.
time.
You can just say it's a work session
Mhm.
in general and that it's for the budget and, you know, other,
Kill 2 things with 1 meeting.
And if we decide we have to have another one,
Yeah.
you have to publicize that?
you know, you can have as many as you want.
Okay, all right. I have no problem with it.
So
So the 7th?
Yep.
Okay.
10, 7, and 10.
Or we put 10 to 11, the budget, and then 11 to another.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
budget should,
I'll
the
just put it
budget,
all in the
Okay.
same notice and you
Brian,
guys
you
the
can.
budget shouldn't take long.
I was gonna say, who's buying lunch?
Lunch?
'Cause I'm gonna be hungry
No,
by
no, no.
12.
Don't you talk to me about lunch. You and I already had this discussion. And you refused. Oh, all right. Any other old business? Charlie?
Let's see. The resolution or the referendum? I
No,
should say.
for the
For,
truck people. You want to talk?
yeah, that's this here.
Oh,
First,
okay.
first, can you decide what you want to do?
Sure.
And then I'd like to talk to it for a minute before you do that resolution.
Yeah, well, we spoke about having a consultant come in, and Captain Ed Layden came in and talked to us about what he can provide for us in terms of consulting services and help us with the 2 trucks that we want to build, which is the 100-foot ladder and the pump, I'm sorry,
3,500.
and the, yeah,
Tanker.
and the tanker. So I guess the vote would be, well, the motion would be to take from the reserve fund $25,000 to allocate towards that.
Would be to hire
Or
the
reserve.
consultant.
It can be higher.
Hire the consultant and
Don't
then,
worry about the money.
and then reserve the $25,000. So make a motion to approve the consultant.
To authorize the contract with a consultant.
Mhm.
Which is
It is Kelly Bray. Is it Kel Bray?
Ed's company?
Give me a second, I can tell you.
I have it electronically, I just don't have it in front of me. I think it's Kelbray Fire Service Inc. or something like that.
It does ring a bell, just give me a quick second.
Kelbray Fire Service Consultants, Inc.
That was pretty close.
There we go.
Before you make your motion,
Mhm.
is there any discussion on hiring the consultant?
No, I agree with Charlie. Ed is knowledgeable, he's local, and I think we should use him. I think he'd be a great help to the committee.
I think it would also smooth out the process by giving him the authority to advise us on what to build, who to go to build it, and how it gets fitted out. I think it's worth the service.
Is it necessary to mention that we interviewed 2 consultants? In other words,
Oh,
it wasn't
yes.
just him.
No,
And-
but I
and-
think the general consensus
Yeah.
after the last meeting was that it would be Ed over.
Yeah, agreed.
So that's why I only mentioned Ed.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I just,
Yeah, I don't know if that was in the minutes from the last time. Or
no.
And
I'll
is-
just make a note that, so you did your due diligence and spoke to more than one vendor.
And is that a not to exceed amount?
Not to exceed 25,000.
It's not 25, it's not to exceed.
Not to
Not to
exceed
exceed.
25, yeah.
Got it.
Let's have the.
But
right
we're gonna take from reserve.
So I wanted to
We-
talk to you
well, we
about
wanna
that.
allocate-
Let the treasurer tell us where we're taking it from.
Okay.
I-
Well,
She knows.
It says reserve fund here, so.
I know.
So, do you need to vote or have that motion? Thank you.
So Charlie made a motion.
I have a second.
I'll second that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
You're opposed?
I'm opposed.
So 4 to 4.
So, in talking to the money, I know I said that it was a reserve expense
Mhm.
because it's not something we budgeted for. However, based on my comment prior that I said we have a line item in the budget that is transferred to trucks, you
Mhm.
don't actually have to go to permissive referendum. You don't actually have to wait the time period. You can use the budgeted line, move it to trucks or your normal truck line and spend it from that line should you desire. Now,
Okay.
I also wanted to mention that we have a budget line communications, radio and repairs that has a $38,000 available line because we brought in a purchase order from the prior year for about $25,000. So, not to have a line item that's way off course, we could authorize $10,000 from that line item. We also have a line item, materials and supplies, which has a $20,000 balance with only 3 months left, which could be another $10,000 budget transfer if you wanted. And then I was going to recommend taking from the chief's operating expense.
That woke him up.
Now you know what it feels like.
2,000 or 3,000, and then the inspection has 4,300 left in it.
See?
So,
So we getting it.
I believe we could find space within our line items
Mhm.
if we didn't want to use the transfer to reserve, and if we didn't want to have a permissive referendum. So those
I'd
are
rather
your
find it in the
three
reserve.
options.
I'd rather find it in the budget. Than take
I
it from the
agree with
reserves.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
Just,
definitely.
let me just ask the chief one real quick thing.
Sure.
Do you foresee any need for new radios or any communications equipment?
Not for
For
new
the next 3
radios. We
months?
do need, I do want to have a chat with you, and Greg is getting prices for me on replacing the box lights that you keep having to replace batteries on. He comes to you at least like once a month with them. But I think that's something we can look for. We can deal with the rest of this year, deal with it next year if, you know, you needed to move things around
But there's
for.
nothing urgent pending that you see?
Nothing I'm aware of, no. I mean, it was kind of one of those, we've purchased everything that we've needed for an emergency basis, like the Hearst tool, batteries type stuff, and we're planning on the turnout gear, so I'm not envisioning any major surprises, might be the best way to word it.
Okay, thank you.
So if it's possible, I'd like to give you a budget transfer next meeting to cover the expenditure.
Okay.
Okay. I'll add it.
I think also too, Robin, if you look at those line items for uniforms, there should be a pretty decent amount there, because I don't think we've spent more than $700-800 tops. And that's for 2 full uniforms, so.
I think we have commissioners who have purchased uniform. Over there.
Wow, didn't see them at the parade.
Okay, nutrition policy discussion, we're gonna work on that already. New business, authorized chairman executive agreement for Triton contract.
You gave it to Christine.
Yes.
You have to sign it though.
Oh, you didn't sign it?
Yeah,
No.
I didn't sign it.
I
will.
put the date, but you still have to sign.
Oh, I wrote the
So do I have
t-shirts.
a motion?
I'll make a motion. Oh, sorry.
One again? Right.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm just gonna
One of us
choose,
did.
right?
So carried. Adopt proposed budget,
We did that.
which we did last month.
We just adopted,
We just did.
We just
adopted
did
it with
so.
the extra reserves.
Schedule work session for budget, we
Did
did
that.
that, and policy.
And then the
View.
last thing is,
What's the change of the regular
Yeah,
meeting?
what's the change? of-
so that would make 3 meetings in 1 week. It's up to you.
Well, we always have
So we
Kevin's
have
meeting.
Kevin's on the Monday, the budget public hearing on the Tuesday, and then the regular meeting is on Thursday.
As long as it's 6, 7 o'clock.
Well, the public hearing,
I unfortunately cannot attend on the 17th, so
Prior times, we've actually done the public hearing and had the meeting, because
Does
we
anyone?
get very little attendance.
yeah, we get nobody at the public hearing.
So we could combine the two.
We haven't, I mean,
not typically.
We could combine the two. But to come 3 days, you know, we.
Unless you wanted to put the regular meeting on the Monday, that's up to
The
you.
Monday.
Kevin, could we move your meeting to Tuesday that week, the 17th?
Just that 1 week?
Oh, we
Yeah,
can do all
always.
3, right?
I cannot come on the 17th at all.
Which
you're right,
is what?
you-
Which is the 17th?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. I can be here on the Monday or Thursday, but I cannot come on.
Can
Right,
we-
so we could do everything on Monday.
Oh, so we can do what we were supposed to do on Tuesday, Monday?
No, the budget public hearing must be
Yeah, on
on the
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So it was
That's what the
prior
law-
to.
But-
So
No,
that's all right.
unfortunately,
So,
it's worded.
Kevin, can you do that
Has
one
to be.
Tuesday?
The 17th,
Yes.
just the one day?
Yeah.
That's when Bob Mitchell's presenting as well on the 16th.
well, then maybe we, just waiting on one of it, so.
So, yeah, I think.
I'm just putting, I'm just
I think we need
letting you all
Christine
know.
there.
Okay.
She runs the Zoom, right?
What time? You keep it to 6 or to 6:30? I have a meeting that runs 5 to 6 on that day.
The 17th.
What time is the budget?
The budget would be at 7.
Yeah.
7? So,
Well-
6 o'clock?
Oh, wait.
What
What
time?
time? Wait,
The 17th is just
yeah.
unfortunately a no-go for
The
me.
17th is just the public hearing meeting, right?
Mhm.
So if we keep Kevin's meeting on the 16th,
You
and
can either move the
combine something
regular,
else
you can combine the
to there.
regular with the 16th,
Right.
or you can hold all 3 and have it on,
that's,
So we'll move,
or, I mean, it's recorded. I
take it
just
from the
can't-
19th, wait, that's October, we'll move it from
Mhm.
the.
can we move the regular scheduled meeting up to Tuesday? Oh, no.
No, everything's gotta be,
Make it,
Monday.
it's gotta be
Right.
Monday.
Everything's gotta be Monday.
Right.
Monday and
But
Tuesday.
Mitchell's gonna be presenting that day,
He is.
so putting our meeting at, I think that's gonna be a lot. I mean, with the public hearing, we could, that we could squeeze in.
Tuesday has to be the public
Tuesday
hearing.
has to be the budget public hearing.
So you can have Tuesday, public hearing, meeting.
Right. I will be there Monday, I just cannot be there.
Then why
Tuesday.
don't we wait to the 19th for Kevin's meeting, prior to our board meeting on Thursday?
If we can't, I'm
If you
sorry
could
to
do that.
interrupt, but if we can't, if we move something to the 17th, that means Christine can't be here.
And you have to have that meeting.
And we have to do that meeting that day.
Yeah, the budget meeting has to be
That's
done.
fine.
at the
And I don't have to
17th.
be
That-
present for the budget public
You
hearing.
you don't necessarily, right,
Right.
but we would like, I think we would like you there for a regular meeting
Mhm.
to take notes and give us guidance.
Which
So
is
I-
the 19th.
Which is the 19th, so I don't think we want to move the regular meeting, and I don't think we want to move the Monday meeting, but I think we can have the other meeting on Tuesday, because then Christine's not gonna-
Well, the issue was there's gonna be 3 meetings.
I understand that,
I'm
but-
fine with that.
I understand.
Unless, can Kevin move his to the Thursday and you start that one at 6? You can't.
Sorry, I have a previous commitment.
I think it's a shame that to have 3 meetings in a week, and nobody, I think, looks forward to that, and I'm not running your meeting, believe me. I'm just thinking that minimize the workload when Christine's not here.
Okay, so
Because-
let's leave it as is.
I
mean,
Zoom, I am not coming here for an
Fine.
hour's drive, 3
Fine.
nights in a week.
Fine.
perfectly
You'll be here?
agreed.
You'll be here on the Tuesday, right?
Oh, boy.
Well, the Tuesday's the budget public
I
hearing.
come here every
No, that's,
day of my life.
Well,
Kevin, your meeting's at what, 6 on Monday?
6.
We
Okay.
do the regular,
If it makes
At
it any
7.
easier, I know we tried to set up my Monday meeting to be just before your board meeting. I could move that 16th meeting to the following week,
I
the
think-
23rd,
I
if that
think it was
helps.
to keep Bob
It was-
Mitchell on
yeah.
schedule with presenting the design.
yeah, we didn't want,
I agree.
we didn't want to give Bob or you guys changed this on me, so
I'm
I,
with you 100% here.
I don't want, I want to keep Bob right on schedule. So,
It is up to you. You can,
We also had a public hearing one year at 5 o'clock at night.
you did, you had the budget public hearing at
That's right.
4:30 2 years ago.
and we all weren't here.
Everybody came.
You can go to the videotape.
Exactly.
All right, Brian,
We could go early if you want, I mean, we
Make
do
it
it
earlier.
earlier. It's fine with me.
on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, you understand, I'm here all the time.
I can be here on Tuesday at 4:30.
How long is that meeting last? An hour?
It's typically 5 minutes for the budget.
Oh,
public
so
hearing.
Usually,
Tuesday, 4:30.
usually, wait, anybody shows up,
I'm good there.
And then-
I'll tell my boss I'm.
after a while, when there's nobody sitting here, that's it, we're
So,
done.
we'll keep Kevin's meeting Monday at 6, the budget, public budget hearing Tuesday, 4:30, and then our regular meeting.
Regular meeting, just leave
Okay.
everything the way it is.
17th. So just for notice purposes, the budget public hearing is on Tuesday, October 17th at 4:30 p.m.
4:30, yes.
And then we are not changing the regular.
Do we, I can bring a laptop and Zoom it. If you send me a link to it, I can Zoom it, and I don't know if I can record. I don't have the paid
what?
version. If we're gonna do Zoom, and Robert wanted to show up on Zoom on Tuesday?
Oh, Tuesday I'll have to be here. But 4:30 helps me.
Oh,
Not
okay,
driving a
okay.
big deer.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, good. If you didn't come, I thought we'd do a Zoom with you.
No, Tuesday
I can
I
always do
would.
it through my.
Tuesday, 4:30 works for you.
Yeah, that would be great, thank you.
No, the Monday. She doesn't want to come 3 nights.
Yeah.
So she's going to Zoom Monday and or Thursday.
Our Monday meeting is a Zoom meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
You set that up, and you send the link out, okay.
That's correct.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll be
Oh, we have
And
to
it's
set
like,
hard
I'll
work.
be here.
They pursuant to open meetings law have to be physically present at least a quorum in this building in order to have a meeting.
Yep.
So that's why,
That's why you're always here on Zoom.
yes.
Christine, can you do me a big favor?
I certainly can.
Can you
Send you a list.
That's right, a list of all the upcoming meetings.
100%. I will send it out to
Confused.
everyone.
Heads exploding. Great.
All right, that Triton contract?
We did that one,
I just got
You
signed.
gotta sign
that's
it,
all.
right?
yeah. But
Did you?
here,
All right,
Christine, on a different topic, did you say at one point you were going to look into getting a camera so we could Zoom from here?
You mean a camera, like to,
Yeah, a little simple something.
there,
we
I mean,
could
there's a
Zoom.
camera on my laptop that I just
Yeah.
strategically place over there.
I mean, is that, if you weren't here, for example, on a given night, how would we do it over there? I have a little camera, I have a little laptop.
You got a camera, yeah.
I know, but I have a better camera that's external to this.
We could purchase an owl, right, Carrie?
You could borrow the owl that I have,
Yeah.
or you could just get like a little
Like a little
Logitech.
webcam.
That's what I have, the Logitech.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could put that up on top of there
And
as long as you
that's
have
what
your
we did, we
computer
used yours and
close.
put it on top of the
That's what I've
TV.
done. I'm just saying, did we want to buy one? I don't know, I have one.
Did you need
I
that
can-
contract?
I do. I need
Wasn't
to
our
make a
problem
point.
not having a Zoom account? We don't have a Zoom account.
We don't have a paid Zoom account.
I can set up a meeting for you guys if you need it. I have like 10,
Okay,
users.
okay, that would be very helpful.
Are they recordable?
Yeah.
Okay, because that would be nice. And where are they recorded to? The cloud someplace, I presume?
Yeah.
And then you'd send out a link of where it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then depending on if it's a public, is it posted, then it goes on YouTube and all that. Otherwise, it's just internal.
Mhm.
And because it's a paid account, there's no time limit, right?
Right.
Right, otherwise it's a 40 minute.
45 minutes.
How much is it a year for that? For a paid account? Do we know?
It depends on the version. If a 10 user one is a couple $100 a month, a single user is like 30-ish.
I don't even know. I mean, because I have to do webinars, and webinars are really expensive.
Webinar version is a lot more money. We have that as well. We wouldn't need the webinar version
No.
though.
Okay. Any other new business? Public comment? No audience?
No comment?
Future dates? Oh, Christ.
It's actually pretty good as is. Except we
regular
just need to
meeting?
add the budget work session.
Yeah.
It's tentatively scheduled for October 19th
It's
at
no-
7 p.m.
It's no longer tentative, it's regular.
Okay. With a work session beginning,
Yes,
Yeah.
correct?
at 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
A work session will be held on Monday the 16th, 2023 at 6 p.m.
An additional work
An
session
additional
on October 7th at 10 a.m.
work session at 10 a.m. on the 7th, and
The
The
budget.
budget-
public hearing.
what the hell, will be on the 17th at 4:30 in October. That is a Tuesday.
Okay.
Any questions or concerns to the board for anything? Meeting through the BOFC at ncfd1.org. All your questions can go there, please. Do I have a motion?
To adjourn?
Yes.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
A second. All in favor?
Aye.